All right, welcome. We're back charting. You guys know the deal. Thank you to the 30 people already here. As you guys could see, I changed a lot of this stuff. Just try to upgrade the graphics, make my stream as good as possible. Still have a lot of things I need to work on for sure. To start off things, we're going to be going over a new chart, a new trade that I think looks pretty decent. Also got the music back in the stream. If it's too loud, just let me know. I could lower the levels and stuff. You guys are just gonna have to let me know how the volume sounds. But remember, guys, before we even get into this new trade, and then we're gonna go over Fisker, PIC, VRM, some cryptos, a bunch of different things. Before we go into all of that, if you support what I'm doing, the free analysis, make sure to hit that like button just to help grow the stream, and hit that subscribe button. I think we're like 755 or something. So every single day we're getting closer to 1K. It's been unreal so far. Thank you guys for all of the support. And if you want to send me a tip, it is the first link in the description and the pinned comment in the chat. Also got some new alerts for when people subscribe and when people donate. It shows like a Wolf of Wall Street GIF or GIF, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I just worked on a bunch of things. Let's get right into the analysis. I see the chat going crazy already. So we're going to get to everything. We're going to get through as many things as possible. 44 people in here. Maybe we could break the concurrent viewer record tonight. Peter McGuinn, thank you for the subscription. As you guys can see, that's like the little one of the little gifts that shows up. So yeah, thank you guys for 20 likes. Let's get into the new trade. Apple, think it looks pretty good. Now let's talk about why. First thing you have that I really noticed on Apple is the bullish convergence. What that pretty much means is the price is going up. You're making higher lows on price. You just made your third higher low, so it's in an uptrend in terms of like the short term. And then on your RSI, you made a higher low. On your MACD, you made a higher low, and that's on the daily time frame. If we take a look at the 4-hour, you also made a higher low on the RSI and the MACD. So your oscillators are pretty much saying that the value of both the relative strength and the moving average is increasing while the price is increasing. It's not as good as divergence, which is when the oscillators do the opposite thing, but it still is pretty decent. So yeah, I'm gonna try and look in the chat in a second. I just want to get through this Apple trade, and I'll look at all the tickers and talk to you guys and stuff like that. But yeah, Apple, bullish convergence on the 4-hour and on the daily. And then another thing to look at is you have this upsloping demand line, you have this downsloping supply line. If you want to call it a double bottom, sure, I guess. But you broke out of it, and not only did you break out of whatever pattern you want to call that, like a pennant or something like that. It's just not really a textbook pattern, but you guys get the point of the price consolidating, which is implying an increase of volatility in the near future. So basically Apple broke out, and then it came back down to back test the breakout. It looks even better on the daily. So as you can see, it broke out of this pattern and then it back tested it. So it's giving you like more of a value entry than buying when the price was, $120 or $122. So, the way that I made the targets for this trade was the short-term target, which I don't know, maybe you could run more in the short term. This is only like an 8% target. So if you want to take the long-term profit, it could be more equitable. But yeah, you have the golden retrace 0.618 lining up with your high from October 12th and October 13th. And that is also lining up with like your mini support from August 26th and August 27th. So that's why the short-term target is about like 124. It's a 3-to-1 reward to risk, which is the minimum reward to risk you want on a trade. You want to be able to gain 3 times as much as you're risking. You know what I'm saying? For example, here you're risking literally 3% for a potential to gain 8%. That's why it's like a short-term trade, because the risk is pretty tight and the profit is not like crazy profit, but you're looking for like 8% in the short term. So that's the short term trade if you want to take it. But here's the long term trade. Basically, it's more risk but more reward. 53 people in the stream. We just broke the concurrent viewership record, most amount of people I've had in the stream at the same time. So keep hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for all of the support. Let's get some hype in the chat for breaking another record. It feels like every single day we're breaking a record. So that is awesome. Type the word hype in the chat. Let's keep it going. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate all the support. But yeah, Apple, the long-term trade, your target would be 137, which was the previous all-time high. And basically, if you break $124, there's just no resistance until 137. Like, I don't see any resistance here until 137 or like 138, that general area. So yeah, that long-term target really could only work if the price does break above 125. And in terms of the entry, that's really up to you. Personally, I'm looking for an entry at about $115, just because there is some support there. If you zoom into like the 1 hour, you have these two candles from October 19th and the 20th, and then you have some resistance. So I'm looking for a 115 entry, which is literally very close, but obviously it depends on how it opens tomorrow. And then in terms of the stop losses, again, that's your decision. It's just how much you want to risk. But at the same time, you don't want to put a stop loss on a support level, because it could just bounce off right after you get stopped out. 58 people in the stream. You guys are going crazy today. Keep smash. Oh my gosh. 61 people in the stream. I have no clue what's happening. We're just breaking records out here. The numbers just keep going up. Thank you guys so much for 60 of you in here. Keep hitting that like button. We got 62 people in here. Let's get to 30 likes. We need 4 of you to hit that like button. But yeah, Apple. In terms of like the stop loss, you don't want to have it on a support. So my short-term trade stop loss personally would be under this like green candle wick, which was $112.59. So the stop loss on the short term is like the lower 112 range, which is extremely close. Like, this is more of a 1 to 2 day trade, and it is riskier than most of the trades I put out, and I want to make that very clear. In terms of the short term trade, that is definitely riskier, just because the probability on it is a little bit lower. What I really want to see here is you get the back test and then you have a nice run after the back test. But that's only like a 60 to 65% probability. It's not the usual 70 to 75% probability I go for, which is why personally I think the long-term trade is more worth it. You are risking down to like 108, something like that, because if there is a gap fill, so it could run down to like 111 and fill the gap. So you don't want to get stopped out there if it does decide to fill the gap. But if it even goes under that gap fill area, obviously you could take some caution there. Gonna change the song real quick. But yeah, that's like the long-term stop, and those are just my personal opinions on what I'm willing to risk for both the short term and the long term. You have to make your own decision there. But this is the new trade I'm looking at for the week, Apple. I don't currently own it. I'm looking to enter it tomorrow. But if it doesn't give me the opportunity, then I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to compromise. I don't want to settle for anything. I want the best value in all my trades. And if I can't get that, I'll go to another trade. That is something Mitch Ray, the person who taught me pretty much all of this, that's something he says. A lot of the things I go over is just because I learned it from him. So check him out on YouTube. He's actually on my TV right there right now. But yeah, Mitch Ray, the TA GOAT. 67 people in here. Thank you for 30 likes. Let's keep it going, guys. Really appreciate all the support. And that was Apple. Now I'm going to go over Fisker, and then after that we're going to get into chat requests. What is up? Christian, Trademan, Cullen, Dominico, AV, Carlos, Al, Eric, Chris, Gene. Welcome everybody. Really appreciate the insane numbers we're getting tonight. 68 people is crazy. So let's keep the TA going. Again, hit that like button, just to help grow the stream. And if you want to know when I'm live every day for free analysis, hit that subscribe button. And then finally, if you want to tip me, it is the pinned comment in the chat. But here we got Fisker. If you guys have been following me for some time, you know I posted the bullish butterfly and I made a 30-minute video on Fisker when it was literally $9 at the PCZ or pattern completion zone of the bullish butterfly. Since I put out that trade, the price of Fisker is up 163%. You would have more than doubled your money by far. Mohammed, thank you for the subscription. Really appreciate it. But yeah, Fisker went on an insane run. So this is the big question. Now that, after it went on the insane run, it's finally getting the mainstream attention and stuff like that. What is up, Nat City? Thank you for the subscription. But yeah, now it's getting the mainstream subscription, and everybody, it's on the Yahoo trending page. All these big companies are putting out price targets and stuff like that. So the big question is it currently in a value area? It was $9 literally in the beginning of this month, and now it is $20. So I'm going to be completely honest. If I was just looking at any chart and I see something up 163%, there is no way you can consider it a value area in the short term. The real run in terms of the short term already took place. And you cannot argue that if it falls down to retest the breakout of 1821, you can't complain. It's still in a major uptrend. and it literally went to a new all-time high at 2360 or something like that. So yeah, I don't know if I'm not going to say it's in a value area for the short term. In the long term, I do think that we're going to see much higher prices, but you still could get a better opportunity to buy. It just really is coin flip. The real place where there was like high probability of Fisker going up was when it was at the PCZ of the bullish butterfly. If I zoom into the 4-hour, is when it filled gaps over here, is when it created a pennant over here, when it created a right angled descending broadening wedge over here. And I was posting all of that live while it was happening on my Twitter. So if you don't follow me on Twitter for live updates and trade setups, it's in the bottom left of your screen. Check that out. We are sitting at 73 concurrent viewers. I don't even know what to say. Thank you guys so much. I would have never thought that these numbers could be possible. So really appreciate all the support. Absolutely insane. But in terms of Fisker, I want to keep it as direct as possible. I'm just kind of freaking out seeing these numbers on the stream. What's up, 4K? How you doing? But yeah, in terms of like the current price, he went to a new all-time high, but then you pulled back. If we look on the daily, I think it just makes it the most clear. I'm going to be completely straightforward with you. I'm not here to shill stocks and stuff like that. I just want to help you guys out. I want to give you probability, right? So I'm going to be as straightforward as possible. I was super straightforward when people were saying that Fisker was going to go to $5 when it was $9, and there were short attacks and all of that different things. And now I'm being straightforward again. I said it was a buy at $9. I warned about the resistance at $18, and then it pulled back to 15. And then at 15, I said it was a buy because it filled the gap and it was at the bottom of a bull flag with a 1-hour hidden bullish divergence. So I'm just being straightforward yet again. You are in a risky area. If $20.48 is not held, which is the open of the previous all-time high candle, if 20.48 is not held, there really isn't any support till 18.21, and that cannot be argued. There just isn't. There's nothing here at all. There's nothing in this range. You want to use historical data to see, where the price can pivot, and there is no historical data here, which is why it's been so volatile in this price range, because it is creating new data. So basically, it's super simple in my opinion. If you can keep on closing daily candles and 4-hour candles above 20.48, you can go to the resistances, which we're going to talk about in a second. But if you cannot sustain 20.48, what could happen is it could backtest 18.21, which was your previous resistance. That is known as a support resistance flip. Print, the top donor in the stream, welcome back. Thank you so much for dropping $500 last week. Literally blew my mind, so really appreciate that. What's up, Bala? I'll try to take a look at Shift and Corsair. Definitely gonna get to as many things as possible. But yeah, just to finish up Fisker, you want to hold 20.48. After that, the support is 18.21. But if you can hold 20.48 and it does continue this run, which is insanely crazy, I mean, it's not crazy to think that the run won't continue. You already made a new all-time high, which, most of the time creating an all-time high is a good thing, just because there's no resistance after that aside from Fibonacci. So now let's talk about Fibonacci. If you haven't been following the stream, I literally used Fibonacci to call Neo, Fubo, Palantir, and like 5 other things perfectly. And it's not because I'm a wizard. It's just because Fibonacci is really reliable when you don't have any other data at this price. So if Fisker can break above 2160, which was like the previous all-time high from the candle wick, if Fisker can break back above 2160 and close a 4-hour or a daily candle over that, sorry, I'm messing up my words, but if that can happen, your next resistances are the 2618, which is the double golden ratio, and the 3618, which is the triple golden ratio. And golden ratios are crazy. They're seen all around the universe. They're seen in the galaxies, in bee colonies, in the DNA strands that humans have, but it can also be used in trading, and in my opinion, it does work very well. I've literally made hundreds of % of profits off of using these Fibonacci levels, and they're not certainty or anything, they're just probability. But we cannot even consider, these much higher levels until you can get a daily candle close truly above 21.48. You kind of did it by a few cents here, but you really want to make it like, 50 cents or something very clear above that level. But that is my Fisker update. I know a lot of people are currently in this. Been talking about it since $9, and it's been a crazy run. I just want to be as straightforward as possible. Honestly, it is a coin flip. Either way can happen. I just want to give you the levels to look at if the bad thing happens, which is it retests 1821. I don't even know if you want to call that a bad thing. Let's just say if the Bears have control, the level to look at is 1821 for a major bounce. And if the Bulls have control, the levels to look at are $23 and $26, which are your Fibonacci lines. So you don't need to know what is going to happen. You just need to be able to react to what is going to happen. You have to manage your risk, and you have to be adaptable. You have to be fluid, stuff like that. But that is Fisker, super in depth. We just hit 81 people in the stream, 43 likes. Can we get to 50 likes? Prince said he's going to drop a $70 donation if we hit 70 likes, which is crazy. Thank you for all the support, Print. Keep on hitting that like button, guys. I know we can do it. Let's get to 50. And if you're not subscribed already, the button looks like that. It's right on top of me. Just hit that subscribe button to know when I go live if you support the free analysis. And if you want to send me a tip, it is the pinned comment in the chat. If you were around for the last 3 weeks of trades, you know how crazy they have been. Multiple, probably over 20 stock trade setups I put out have hit 20% profit or higher. Gene, thank you for the $20 donation. Really appreciate it. I don't see any message there, so I don't know if you requested anything. Again, for the newer people in here, any tip $3 or higher with a ticker request on it, I will look at that ticker immediately, just as like a thank you for the tip. But yeah, Gene, if you want me to look at something, drop it in the chat. I did not see any ticker request in that. But yeah, we're going to move on to, talking to the chat and going through tickers that you guys are asking for. Just went over Apple, which is the new trade, and we just went over Fisker, which has been the trade of a century, it seems like, in the last month. Yeah, there is supposed to be more price targets coming for sure. I have seen stuff like that. 4 more likes to 50 likes, guys. Let's do it. Let's keep it going. Let's look in the chat. Let's see what people are requesting. I see canopy growth. I know that the weed sector is getting a lot of hype right now. Before we even go into CGC, what I want to look at is Tilray. And this is another one where I use Fibonacci, support levels, and divergence to call the bottom. If you haven't been following me on Twitter, when Tilray went to $6.73, I said it was a good place to buy it. Now, I said that because there was horizontal support from here, and resistance from here. It was at a 786 Fibonacci retrace, which could be a bounce area. And it was also creating 4-hour hidden bullish divergence and daily hidden bullish divergence. So if you guys have been in the stream, you know what getting hidden bullish divergence at a Fibonacci level with support, you know what that can do. And that's what we saw, on Tilray. So I'm just trying to change the time frame, but my Mac is showing me this bar up top. All right, it's gone. But yeah, up 30% since I posted Tilray. And now the hype is starting to come in. Go figure. After 30% run, now people want to really talk about Tilray, when not many people were talking about it at 673. But your hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour is confirmed. And what I do like is on the daily, you're very close to a MACD crossover. Pretty much any demand coming in tomorrow morning will turn this MACD to green, and then you can confirm daily hidden bullish divergence. And daily hidden bullish divergence confirms, well, not confirms, but gives higher probability to a sustained uptrend. Basically, it implies price continuation. As you can see, from this low in price over here to this low in price over here, you made a higher low. You did not fall back down to that level. Now, while you made a higher low on price, you made a lower low on the MACD, which is a good thing. That means the price can continue going up. So you want to keep that in mind for Tilray. It also did hit the target of 834, which is great as well. And something I'm noticing, for whatever reason, is the music stopped playing. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. But thank you guys, really close to 50 likes. Definitely getting there. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the music. I'm probably gonna have to fix that after the stream. So, not too sure of why it's not getting the music into the Streamlabs, but whatever. That is Tilray. What do I think of the marijuana industry right now. Obviously, there is fundamental catalysts going on with the Biden election and other certain things that I don't want to get too much into. But if you really look at the macro trend, if you were around trading 2-3 years ago, that there was a weed stock bubble where Tilray was at one point $300. It is currently under $10. So if you do get that legislation, approving recreational marijuana in Canada and USA, all of these weed stocks obviously have a lot of room to run. They have been at much higher prices, but they just got crushed because, they don't have any mainstream demand because it's illegal. So you just have to look out for what's happening in terms of the legislation being created and stuff like that. But, we're just going to have to see. It's already up 30%. In terms of what could happen with Tilray in the near future, there's a gap filled $9.61. That could be considered the second target of the trade. And that would be a 42% profit if you bought it at the buy level I showed on my Twitter. So that is Tilray. Most of, the weed stocks look very similar, where they've just been crushed over the last couple of years. And then with the Biden election, they had like a 2x in price very fast. And then they sold off almost immediately. And now they're starting to get that, that volume coming back in. Same thing with ACB. It had like a little pennant, probably looks better on the 4-hour. But yeah, there was also hidden bullish divergence, just like Tilray had, with a pennant on the 4-hour, and it went up 47%. So only now, after Tilray and ACB are going up like crazy, people are really talking about it. But if you really learn technical analysis, I've been showing these on stream since the price on Tilray was $6.73 and the price on ACB was $6.73. You had that hidden bullish divergence at much lower levels, which was technically a buy signal, and you're also creating bullish patterns. So you have to keep that in mind. Like, you really want to be in before the hype. And I'm not saying that these can't continue running. Another one is CGC. That was what was requested in the chat. I'm not saying they can't continue running. Obviously, they got crushed from like much, much higher levels. But for those real value entries, you want to be ahead of the rest. But yeah. Tyler says, how do you find tickers before the hype? It's a multi-step process. The first thing you want to do is, find a sector that is hot. A way you can do that is you go on Google and you look up stocks heat map, and it'll show you all the different industries of the indexes, and it'll show you which ones are performing well. And then after that, you go to Yahoo, and then you look at the trending tickers, and then you take some of those tickers, and then you look at the technical analysis and see if the TA looks good. That's just personally how I do it. You want to do your research on what's currently hot, and then you want to use TA on specific tickers to see if it can look good or if it can play out. But we just got a donation. Thank you, Zacharia. I don't know how to pronounce it, but thank you for the 3. And he did request a ticker. Again, for the new people in here, any ticker $3 or higher, I'll look at it immediately just as like a thank you. But yeah, HOFV is what he requested. Still got 81 people in here. Make sure to hit that like button. 3 away from 50 likes. Insane support. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, just hit that like button if you support what I'm doing. Hit that subscribe button if you want to help the stream grow and the channel and stuff like that. And if you want to send me a tip, it is the pinned comment in the chat, and it's also the first link in the description. But more trades to come this week. If you're not following me on Twitter at Champion Vibe, you definitely should be, because if you look at the last few weeks, it's been insane. So many things have ran over 20% to 100% that I posted. But yeah, HOFV. 1 second, just changing my music. I don't even think you guys can hear the music, which kind of sucks. Gonna have to figure that out. Commando is requesting Mara, which I will look at right after I finish HOFV. And that is like a crypto mining stock. But yeah, HOFV, right off the rip, it's at an all-time low, which is not a good thing. You don't want to be an all-time low because there's no real support there. It gapped down from $2.30 to 122, so I have no clue what went on fundamentally for that to occur. But the macro trend is just not good, and if I'm being honest, there's no divergence on the 4-hour. But there is classic bullish divergence on the daily, where you made a lower low on price, but you made a higher low on your MACD, and you also made three different higher lows on your RSI. So, classic bullish divergence does imply price reversal to the upside. It is a good thing. Whoa, my ears. Oh my gosh. I don't know why that just glitched out like that. IVR requested by Chris. I will take a look at that as well. Hopefully you guys didn't hear it, but I'm sorry if you did. Whoa, the donations are coming in. Steven, thank you for the 3 DFEN. We'll take a look at that as well. Again, guys, any tip 3 or higher, I will look at it as soon as possible. So thank you, Gene, Zachariah, Commando, Chris, and Steven for the donations. We will get to the tickers. But yeah, there is a gap filled at 231, but that is super far away. And literally the only thing it has going for it is daily classic bullish divergence, which I don't know if that's going to be enough. Maybe it will be, but it would only give you like a 55% probability at most, because you don't have support and you don't have a pattern. So it's the bearish thing is that it's at an all-time low, and the bullish thing is the daily classic bullish divergence. So it kind of just looks like a 50-50 if I'm being honest. Let's move on to Marathon. Crypto mining stock had an insane run. Been talking about it since it was $256 and it went to $6. Obviously a lot of correlation to Bitcoin, which has also been running lately, and basically they do crypto mining or something like that. I don't know too much about them. Thank you for the 50 likes, really appreciate it. So wait 1 second. Gene, have you been requesting Corsair? Oh, you did not post the ticker Corsair. I will look at that literally right after this. Really sorry for that. I mean, I didn't see the ticker, so we will look at that right after Marathon. But yeah, it already had the run up, if I'm being honest. There is a gap filled at $5, but there's no pattern. And where technical analysis works the best is when you're creating an ascending triangle at a level of support. That's really where it works the best. And once you did that, it ran from $250 to $6. That's where you had the bullish edge. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, again, it's just like a coin flip. There's not much I can do here. Maybe we can look at Fibonacci, and you're approaching the 50% retrace and the golden retrace, and you also have the 389 level, which has been a resistance, and maybe you could flip to support. So 389 is like a decent support, and it's also in the golden pocket, which is a reversal area for many assets. So 389, there could be more of an edge, but if it doesn't reverse at 389, it's probably going to go fill the gap to 350. That is Marathon, no divergence and no pattern. So hopefully the Fibonacci and the gaps help you out a bit. Now we're going to look at Corsair because Gene, he tipped first, and I don't want to forget about that. Corsair, insane run. Going to clear up my chart a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it just went from $13 to $51. There is no pattern at all. So what we can do is use Fibonacci. You have that support level and a gap fill. Yeah, again, there's just not any major edge on charts where it's like a straight line up or a straight line down. TA really works the best when you're consolidating and creating patterns, and that can, predict the straight lines up and the straight lines down. But currently it's just, $51 pulled back down to $38. It is approaching like an okay support level. Again, after you have a crazy run up like that, you can't create strong supports because all you had was, for the most part, either a parabolic curve or a straight line up. There wasn't any, higher highs, lower lows, stuff like that. But there is like a okay support at 36.38. As you can see, that was resistance on November 18th, and it was support on November 19th. So 36.38, if there's anywhere where maybe it could, start reversing back towards the upside, that would probably be the only level to look at. There's really no Fibonacci line there either. You don't have a pattern. And if it doesn't hold 36.38, be careful because there is a gap fill to $32.18. So you're looking for a bounce at 36. That just really is your next support. And you know, this has already been a crazy runner, so definitely take caution. Also, the MACD on the 4-hour is really close to crossing over. We take a look at the daily. It's also waning in momentum. All right, I need to like put down my alert box because it's like scaring me. It's like so loud. But thank you, Guy in Hat, for the $5 donation. Really appreciate it. Hopefully nobody's gonna clip my reaction to that because I have my headphone in and it just goes crazy with the alerts. So I still have some fine tuning to do with this stream. Thank you for the 5, Guy in Hat. I will look at MO. Yeah, that is Corsair. 36, 38, and $32 are the major levels to look at. Now we have to look at IVR, and then after that we have DFEN, and then after that we have MO. IVR, you know, it's having a nice run. Let's look at the oscillators, see if there's anything there. No edge on the daily. Take a look at the 4-hour. There actually was hidden bullish divergence, but it looks like it's already played out on the 4-hour. But yeah, you have a rounding bottom on IVR for sure. Let me probably just use the brush. It's not going to look great, but you're going to get the point. But yeah, you have a rounding bottom for sure, which is a bullish thing. You don't have any handle or anything like that, so you can't call it a cup and handle yet. Maybe if it does create a handle, there could be a major edge per se. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of simple, I guess. Your resistance is very clear. It is 358. If you can close a candle above 358, it can really run. If you really can close a candle over 358 on the 4-hour or the daily and you can back test it, and that's really what market participants are using for a breakout. I mean, there really isn't any major support until like $4.50. I mean, major resistance. So yeah, the breakout level would be $3.58. If it can get above that, great, but currently it has not been able to. Maybe we could look at this as a rising wedge, which I don't really like. Maybe it's more of a channel though. Let's try and see how that would pan out. I don't know. Maybe. Just want to see if anything really lines up well. Kind of. I guess, you know, you obviously have some sort of upsloping resistance line and you have an upsloping demand line. And it's just currently right in the middle of that. So no major edge or anything right there. You're just in this upsloping channel. You have a rounding bottom. You could create a handle to make a cup and handle, but it's way too early to call that. And if it ever does break above 358, like with a confirmed breakout, the next resistance is literally 448 or something around that area. If you really want to support, I could zoom in. 330, there's a couple candle closes in that area, so 330 could be a support level. And yeah, that is IVR. Those are the levels to look at. It's okay. We're just gonna have to see how it plays out. I do like the fact that it's 17 cents away from a support, but you know, that is like a 5% move, so we'll have to see. Now we're gonna look at DFEN, and then we have MO. Again, guys, thank you so much for all the support. We absolutely crushed my previous viewership record. We hit 80 viewers at one point tonight, which is crazy. Keep hitting that like button if you haven't already. It's just like the easiest way to grow the stream if you support the free analysis. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'm just saying, I think it would be a good idea. I think it would be smart. It would be a nice decision to make. It's like a red button. It says subscribe. It lets you know whenever I post a video or if I'm live. Pretty useful. And if you want to send me a tip, it is the pinned comment in the chat. But yeah, DFEN, it broke out of this range. It was in this range for pretty much ever since the COVID crash. So like 8 months it was in this range. It did break out one time and then it ran up, then it fell back into the range. And there is no divergence on the 4-hour. Nothing on the daily either. There is a bunch of gaps to fill. So do keep that in mind. Don't really like how many gaps are like in this area. It's been very volatile lately. But what I do like is the fact that obviously it broke out of the channel, and it also broke the 200-day moving average. It has not been over the 200-day moving average since February 25th. So that is very good. Your 200-day moving average would now be your support. So this like red line right here could be your support. If that ever breaks, the next support is 1280, which was just your previous resistance of the channel for literally 8 months. So 1280 would be a very strong support level in my opinion if it ever got back down there. And no pattern here either. You could probably call it an upsloping channel as well. I'm not going to chart it, but you get the point where you have like an upsloping resistance line, upsloping demand line. And yeah, just really gappy on the 4-hour, which I don't know about that. But yeah, those are your levels to look at. The 200-day moving average is a great support, potential support. And your next major resistance is like $21. So it's probably going to be very volatile in the next few weeks. Those are just the levels to look at. Resistance 21, support 200-day moving average, and 1280. MO. Appreciate all the support, guys, for real. Interesting for sure. Very close to an inverse head and shoulders. I wouldn't say it is an inverse head and shoulders though, but this is definitely some good looking stuff in terms of the price action. I really do like it. So just for like, let's just compromise. And this is mainly for education, not for like a real trade. But let's say it is an inverse head and shoulders, right? Where your neckline is 41.55, that is the level you want to break over to see much higher prices. And then your head would be right here. And just clone that. Your left shoulder, oh gosh, I had the drawing tool out. All right. Your left shoulder would be right there. And then your right shoulder, typically you want to see it right here, but it looks like it's right here. And again, making a higher right shoulder on an inverse head and shoulders is technically a good thing. It's just there's a gray area there, because if the right shoulder is too high, it could invalidate the whole entire pattern. But let's say if the right shoulder was like right here, that would be perfect, because it is around the left shoulder level, but it is just slightly higher, which means that the price couldn't even get that low, which is just more bullish. But let's say it's right there, which kind of makes the pattern look a little bit weird. That's the inverse head and shoulders. It also broke above the 200-day moving average, and what I really do like is on Friday it back tested the 200-day moving average and bounced off of it. That pretty much confirms that the 200-day moving average is now your support on MO. So you have the right shoulder, you have the 200-day moving average, and that looks pretty strong in my opinion. You just need to get over 41.55. The way to target an inverse head and shoulders for like a textbook actual inverse head and shoulders would be you take out your price range tool, you go from the bottom of the head all the way to the neckline, then at your neckline you copy and paste it, and then you put the price range over the neckline. So the measured move of a textbook inverse head and shoulders would be $47 on this chart. Obviously, this pattern took 2 months to develop, so it's a long-term pattern. It could take a long time to play out. You have to keep that in mind. But yeah, if it breaks 41.55, it looks great. It would look awesome. Currently, it does look pretty decent. The targets to look at would be 44, which was like your resistance pretty much all throughout August and the first half of September. So if it does break 41.55, the next targets would be 44 and 47. The previous resistance and the measured move of an inverse head and shoulders. But yeah, you just don't want to go much lower than $39 on this to to keep the right shoulder intact. But yeah, that is MO. Looks pretty good. No divergence on the 4-hour and no divergence on the daily. Man, that alert box is really looking glitchy. Bob Bixby with the $6 donation asking for LCA and Boeing. We'll take a look at both of those. Thank you very much for the 6. Yeah, man. Rooster said it himself. The first and only mod in the chat. Thank you guys for helping, grow the channel. Would have never expected any of this. Super crazy, like for real. Really appreciate it. So let's look at LCA first. Crazy run. If you've been in the stream for a few weeks, you know I was literally talking about LCA when it was creating this descending broadening wedge at $12, which also had support, and it also created hidden bullish divergence. So at $12 was the best place to look at this chart. You had a bullish pattern, a support level, and hidden bullish divergence on both your MACD and RSI on the daily. And what happens when you get all of those three things? You ran up 68%. So that, that was really the value area for LCA. Obviously not many people were looking at it then, but congrats to the people who were. I was looking at it then. I just didn't enter it. I was in other trades at the time. But yeah, had an insane run for sure. Currently is still running. Broke all of the Fibonacci levels, so we can clear that off. And now we're just probably going to look at support levels. So the supports right here. 1682 is support number 1. Support number 2 is 1843. And 1843 could definitely be a bouncing area because you also have a gap fill to 1835, and it was your resistance over here. So yeah, I mean, it hit $20, went a little bit higher. Now it's pulling back some. There is a gap fill that's not too far away. That could allow for a short-term trade, but again, it's already up like 70%. So keep that in mind. But 1843 could be a pretty decent support level, and there really isn't any resistance over here. You can't really use Fibonacci. It already passed, the 2618, the 3618, and the 4236 already passed those levels. So there is no resistance, if I'm being honest. It's currently in price discovery, where there is no Fibonacci resistance and there is no horizontal resistance. So there's no way to know how high it can go, but there is a risk on it simply because it's overbought on the daily and it just went up 70%. So I don't know how high it can go, but if it does fall back down, the two levels to look at would be 1843, which is a gap fill in your previous resistance. And if 1843 broke, the next level would be 1682, which was resistance over here, and over here. So those are your levels on LCA. Now let's take a look at Boeing. See what's up with that. Thank you guys again, 56 likes. We need 4 more of you to get us to 60 likes. So if you have not hit that like button already, it would be dope if you did. That's all I'm gonna say. Helps grow the stream if you support the free analysis. So yeah, Boeing. I've been looking at Boeing for a couple weeks now. It was kind of in like this megaphone pattern or just a descending wedge, pretty neutral pattern if I'm being honest. So it could have went either way. It also broke over 171, which was very important. It was resistance for all of October. It broke that level, and it broke out of the whole entire structure. So it broke out to the upside and it's just been running. There is a gap fill to 187, but that's quite far away. And obviously with the vaccine news and stuff like that came out in the last few weeks, a lot of travel stocks and retail stocks are getting bounces because they got crushed all year. And the hopes of a vaccine and life potentially returning to normal gave a lot of investors more confidence in companies like Boeing, American Airlines, Carnival, JCPenney, Macy's, the list goes on and on and on. In-person, physical, customers that these companies are serving, and that they pretty much have not been able to have those customers since March because of COVID. So the fundamentals probably do matter more on this, but if you want to look at, really where the price could pivot, 233 was your high on June 8th or something like that. So if you did buy it in a value area in this accumulation range, if you bought it over there, the target would probably be 233. If it ever broke 233, wow, if it ever breaks over 233 and it confirms that as support for like a few days or something like that, there's literally no resistance until 296. So that's like, the very optimal target. Probably will hit in some time. The question is just when. Will it be in 2 months or will it be in 2 years? You know what I'm saying? But definitely, one low over here, then you made a higher low, then you made another higher low. A lot of momentum changing stuff on Boeing led to this run from 145 to 220. And it does look good in terms of like for people who are already in. But again, this is not the value area. You wanted to be getting in when it was an accumulation. But yeah, your support would now be this orange line right here, your previous resistance. That would be your support, and then your resistances are 233 and 295, just because of how crushed it got. And there's also a gap fill to 249, right? Yeah, like 249.80. So there's also a gap fill to that area, but that is Boeing. That's just what happens when you break out of a pattern like this and you break out of resistances, you break the 200-day moving average. I do wish I was looking at this chart when it was in this area, but obviously I just wasn't. And yeah, nice run. So appreciate all the support again. Thank you guys very much. What else we got? I think we can start looking at some chat requests. I know you guys have been dropping a lot. I'm just really trying to, give back to the people who are donating. So sure, we can look at DQ, and then we can look at DraftKings after that. I think I already have looked at DQ. Yeah. So DQ, no divergence or anything. It's just, it's in a bull pennant where you had a massive run up and now you're creating a pennant. It's kind of weird how like you would really plot it, but this is kind of what I went with, where this would kind of be your upsloping support line and this would be your downsloping resistance line. You just really need to get a daily candle close over this top green line, and that can send you to much higher prices. If you want to take a look at the Fibonacci levels, if it does, really break above that line, you're looking at the next target being the 1618. Don't know why it's not showing like the actual line. That's pretty weird. It would just be around $57 or something like that. But yeah. Alright, it's being pretty weird right now. Usually it shows like a little line. So I don't know exactly where the 1618 would be. But it's just, in the upper $50 range if it does break out of this pattern. Thank you, Adrian, for the subscription. Really appreciate it. That's DQ. Oh, we got a lot of requests in here. Sure, we can take a look at DraftKings. I got 2 people requesting DraftKings. So let's see what's up with that. Okay, so DraftKings. The story here really on DraftKings, there was a head and shoulders over here, which is a bearish pattern. I warned about it on my Twitter at Champion Vibe, and from $48 it went to $35. Then when it was at $35, I noticed on stream, literally on stream, I noticed the classic bullish divergence, which implies a reversal to the upside. So this is a great education, chart for people who want to learn about divergence. You were going down in price, but your MACD went up in price. And literally the day you got the MACD crossover is the day this uptrend started. So divergence is very, very useful. If you want to learn about divergence, it is course video number 8 on my channel. The link to my free course is in the description of this video. But you had classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour, and you had hidden bullish divergence on the daily. So you had a lot of divergence. I said it was a good buy at $39 on stream, and since then it's up 33%. It also did break $52, which was like a mini resistance. So now the next target on DraftKings is 55.86 because there's a gap fill. It's technically 55.80, so that's a little bit off. But yeah, there's a gap to fill at 55.80. There's probably a high probability of that gap filling, but at the same time, it just had a $35 run. I mean a 49% run from $35. So what I'm really trying to teach you guys is to get in at the value areas. When you want to be, requesting tickers and stuff is, when it's at this area, pulling back with divergence on the daily and the 4-hour, and that can lead to a 50% run. It's just when you get to these levels, the run already happened. So who knows when people will want to start taking profits. That's all I'm going to say. You do have the gap fill. Now your new supports would just be your previous resistances, which is known as the support resistance flip. So the supports would be, $40, 44, and 48. Those are just your previous resistances. And then your target would be 55.81 gap fill. If that ever broke, your new target would be an all-time high at $64. So that's DraftKings. Andrew is requesting Vroom and AMWL, which are two of the trade setups I posted last week on my Twitter. Again, if you're not following me on Twitter, I literally have put out over 20 trade setups and charts that have ran like between 10% to 100% in literally the last 3 weeks. So if you want stuff like that, follow me on Twitter. And then obviously, just like a disclaimer, everything I'm doing on stream and on Twitter is just my personal opinion. I have been wrong before and I will be wrong again. Nobody can trade perfectly. If that was the case, everybody would be billionaires. But yeah, just always, I'm only showing you guys probability. None of this is certainty, and it's just my opinion. So we can take a look at Vroom and AMWL. So Vroom is one of the trade setups I put out on Twitter. Still has yet to really move. It did have a nice run to 39, which was like almost 10% profit, but that's not like really what I'm looking for. You have this downsloping channel, which it broke out of and back tested on the daily. It has classic bullish divergence on the daily, and on the 4-hour there was classic bullish divergence, but it already, it went from 33 to 39, so you can argue that already played out. But what I really do like on Vroom, aside from the downsloping channel on the daily, is the $36.76 resistance is now your support. If I really zoom in here, you can see it was resistance all over here, and now it's using that area as support, which is a good thing, especially when you have divergence and a channel breakout to work with. So all the variables are really there for Vroom. I currently own call options and I have shares in Vroom. It got absolutely crushed. Basically, their company does like online car sales or rentals or something like that. And it went from $75 to $31. And I do think that this is the first place in this whole entire downtrend where it is showing some reversal signs. So we'll see if it plays out. Nothing's ever certain, but I think it still looks good. Definitely taking a little bit longer than expected, can't lie. But that's just what happens when you're looking at the daily time frame. You know what I'm saying? It just broke out 3 days ago. You have to give it time. And the targets are $44, which was your support twice, and it's also in the golden pocket. If it broke $44, the second target would be 52, which is just the next resistance or major resistance after 44. But that is Vroom. Can I overlay Carvana on that? I don't know if this is what you're asking for, but do you want me to like compare it? Bala, I will look at Shift. So now we're just kind of looking at like the online car industry. So yeah, this is Carvana. I don't know if this is what you're asking me to do, but as you can see, if we're talking about currently, Carvana is definitely outperforming Vroom. Similar industries, Carvana is having a major uptrend while Vroom is having a major downtrend. So definitely some outperforming going on within this industry. But yeah, hopefully that's what you wanted me to look at. I don't know if that's what you wanted me to do. Yeah, definitely, Carvana, Vroom, and what's the other one? Shift, apparently, are all within this like online car industry, which, with COVID and everything, it could make sense for people to start really shopping online for cars. And obviously just, the new digital age. Bala, I'm actually going to hit you with the moderator. Don't mess around. You are now the second moderator on the channel, just because you're always in the stream supporting me. And I saw your comment on one of my videos where somebody was asking a question and you answered it for me. So you're now a moderator. carry the tool icon with passion. Thank you for all the support. And sure, we could take a look at Shift. I just also want to look at AMWL, which is another trade setup I put out on Twitter. Again, follow me on Twitter if you want all these trade setups. Like, if you look at the weekly trades I put out at the end of every week, I show like an overview of the trades that I put out and how much percent they gained. If you look at that, the last 3 weeks have been insane, like actually insane. Even for myself, my portfolios have had an all-time high or a new all-time high every single week for the last 3 weeks. So just been a crazy run for sure, but at the same time, manage your risk, because this insane stock market will end at some point. It might be in tomorrow, it might be in a year. There's no way to know. You just have to react, and you should never be worried if your risk is properly managed, where you have good position sizing, you have stop losses that are, tactical, and you're taking trades that have a good reward to risk ratio, and you're not FOMOing in to trades or buying things that are up 70% in one day. You want to really sorry, give me a second. You want to really secure your gains. You don't want to give your I put out like a tweet on Twitter. I mean, that's obviously where you put out tweets, but I made myself a little quote. I said, take profits or the market will take them for you. At some point, if you don't take profits, the price is going to reverse. It's just a question of when. So always just, keep developing your portfolio over time. Don't go for, don't risk half of all your money to try and double your money. That's literally gambling. What you should be doing is going for 5%, 10% days, where you're consistently compounding your portfolio worth. And every time you're making a new 10%, the next 10% increase will actually be compounding, where the dollar amount will be much higher because you have more money to work with. And at the same time, you're not risking literally half of your money to make money. That's just not probability, and that's not what you want to be doing in the long term, because when this crazy market does eventually end, you're going to lose a lot of money if you just straight up FOMOing and gambling into stocks. So manage your risk for sure. But AMWL, ascending triangle, the MACD crossed over on the daily. On the 4 hour, it had classic bullish divergence. On the RSI and MACD, again, this is what I look for on pretty much most of the recent trades I put out. Big Commerce, very similar setup, went up 20%. Literally went up 20%. Overstock, very similar setup, went up, since I posted Overstock at 54 on my Twitter, went up, technically it went up 29%, but to my target it went up 25%. So, I'm looking for support areas with classic bullish divergence for value area buys. That's what I saw with AMWL. And since I posted AMWL, it went up 13%. It did pull back, 4 or 5% on Friday. So keep that in mind. But it's a long-term trade again. Looking for reversal here with the ascending triangle, the divergence, the previous support of $22. Using all those factors to try and find the reversal in price, and the target for this would be 27.89 gap fill. If it broke over that level, the next resistance is 31, and then after that 33. And I'm not really using textbook Fibonacci here. I'm kind of trying out like a new method, so don't worry too much about that. Doesn't change the targets or anything. I'm just trying to see how the Fibonacci could line up with that. But yeah, for the new people here, once I talk for over an hour non-stop talking, my voice does start to get weird, so apologies for that. Still trying to get into the hang of streaming and talking non-stop for a long amount of time, but appreciate all the support. Thank you guys for 60 likes. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. Just free analysis every single weeknight at 9:45 EST, and every single day I'm posting charts on my Twitter at Champion Vibe, so follow me there. Appreciate all the support. Broke a new record tonight, which was crazy. 80 people in the stream. Like, what? But yeah, let's take a look at what we're looking at. Shift, right? Shift was like the other online car or whatever. It's in that industry. Online car shopping. I think I have looked at it. SFT, yeah. There's not a lot of data to work with, if I'm being honest. You had triple classic bullish divergence at 671, and what happens when you get triple classic bullish divergence on the daily It went from 671 to $11. Insane run. Broke over 1057, which was my resistance. But look at really where, the candle opened and closed at. I had this charted before this run occurred. And the reason I had 1057 was because it was the low here and it was the low here. And look what happened. You used it as resistance. That's called a support resistance flip. It broke past it, but it couldn't, sustain those levels. And that's really where it pulled back. And then what area did it really stop falling? 936. So over here, it turned the support into a resistance. And over here, it turned the resistance into a support. So very common to see supports and resistances flip. It's just how a lot of prices do work. Once you reach a new price area and you go back to the previous price area, people don't want to see that price range again. They're done with it. So that could be where you can find resistance or support. And that's exactly what happened here. It did close a little bit under 936, so definitely take caution with that. You still somehow have a classic bullish divergence on the daily and on the 4-hour. Not a lot of data to work with, so don't worry about that. But yeah, this, just with all the volatility, makes the probability lower for sure. But it is pulling back. We probably use Fibonacci here. Swing high to swing low. Really, if it ever got back down to 836, that would be the optimal place to take a long. Now, why do I say that? It was support over here on November 9th. And that would also be your golden retrace, which is a very common place for, stocks and cryptos to have bounces and stuff like that. So if it somehow got to 836, that would be what I would consider a value area. But obviously keep in mind, it's already very volatile. So let's get some more tickers being requested in the chat. Let's see what's up. Brian, I can look at CIIC, but I don't think there's much data for me to work with on that chart, just because of how new it is. Again, I can't use technical analysis for a straight line up. There's just no pattern, no divergence. The only thing I could really say is that if it fell under 23.24, it's probably going to go fill the gap at $17, $17.52. So the quickest answer I can give you is bounce right here, or probably going to go fill the gap to 17.52. But again, once something just IPO'd, the technicals really don't matter. What truly matters is the fundamentals and the catalysts. The technicals really only matter after you have a good few months or few years of creating data to work with, because technical analysis is finding probability using data. So you need that data to do technical analysis. Yeah, Corbin, Fisker was the second thing I went over in the stream. So just scroll back all the way to the beginning and you'll see it somewhere over there. What else we got? Sure, we could take a look at IGC. Just trying to go through, chat requests right now. Already had this charted. Super ugly chart, so I'm going to take accountability for that. I have no clue what I was thinking charting it like that. But I think the daily looks okay. You broke 163, and after you break 163, the next resistance is 225. That's really the only thing to look at. You had a triple bottom. This was the first bottom, this was the second bottom, this was the third bottom. So 3 times it was shown on this asset that people did not want to sell it at this level. People wanted to buy at this level. And on the third time, people had enough of going back down to $1.20, and people just decided to buy it. Also, earnings definitely, probably came into factor here, and there was potentially a catalyst. I'm not sure about that. But you broke out of 163, which was your resistance. Next resistance is 225, and your support is now 163. It was your previous resistance, and now it's your support. Oh yeah, I'm down to go over PIC for sure. Let's see what's up with that. PIC also posted on my Twitter. Posted it at $11.65 on my Twitter, and it went up 28% since then. Basically, it was a rounding bottom. 4-hour probably looks the best. Yeah, you had a rounding bottom. It wasn't a cup and handle or anything like that. It was just simply a rounding bottom, and it broke out of the neckline, which was 1354, which I also posted on my Twitter. I said if PIC could break 1354, you could see much, higher levels in price. And that's what happened. Pretty much as soon as it broke over 1354, it went to like 15 bucks. So it's right around the first resistance area because that is your 1618 golden ratio. Again, I used Fibonacci to predict the prices on Neo, Palantir. What was the other one? Can't remember right now. And Fubo as well. So again, the 1618 could be resistance, but you are slightly over that, which is good. If you can really hold above 1471, the next resistance is $16.62. There's no other actual data in this price range, and that's your next Fibonacci line. Again, it's just all probability. I'm not saying it's going to go there for sure, and it still does need to break over 1471. Yeah, you had a rounding bottom, which means over time people became more and more and more bullish on PIC. That's what a rounding bottom indicates. If you need a technical analysis, really all it is using historical data to visualize what the market participants are viewing an asset as. It's basically visualizing market participant psychology. You're looking at how people trade an asset, and you're developing a thesis off of that using data. It's not certainty, it's probability. Print, the man himself. Are you familiar with Skills Gaming Company? If so, do you like the company, not the stock, but the company itself? I am not familiar with Skills Gaming Company. If you type the ticker, I'm down to look at it, see what the chart looks like, but have not heard of them. Yeah, what else we got in here? We got SLV from Steve. So that looks like a silver ETF. Ooh, not a big fan of that. So silver ETF had a massive bear flag. It had a run down, and then it had like an upsloping channel, and that was a bear flag, which is why it broke to the downside. It had a higher probability of falling down, and probably gonna look at the daily just because the 4 hour, it's an ETF, so it looks kind of weird. Yeah, it broke out of the bear flag, not looking good in my opinion. The next area to really look at it is the gap fill to 1988. So it could be headed back down to 1988 to fill a gap. I don't really know how gaps work on ETFs and stuff like that. I don't know, the statistics for gaps and how often they fill. But if I was looking at this like any other stock or crypto, you definitely would want to keep that in mind. It broke out of the bear flag to the downside. FEACE. Not on TradingView. Might just be too new to be on TradingView, or I might just be typing in the wrong thing. But yeah, I'll probably look into that, see what's up with that. Appreciate the support, VCAP. What else we got? Drop some tickers in the chat, guys. Hit that like button. Thank you for 60 likes. If you're not subscribed already, you definitely should be. And when you hit that subscribe button, there will be a Wolf of Wall Street GIF or GIF that will pop up on stream. And if you want to send me a donation, it's the pinned comment in the chat. Oh, FEAC, definitely. I've heard of it. Is this the same thing? Okay. Yeah, I've already charted it. It's just in a range right now. Did actually have hidden bullish divergence, but that's already played out. And now you could probably make the argument that it currently has hidden bearish divergence. And let me explain that. Basically, it made a lower high on price from this high to this high, but it made a higher high on the MACD, which is bearish. Did not do that on the RSI, so you're good there. But honestly, I was talking about it. I'm pretty sure I was talking about it at $14, and I said there's more probability of it not breaking out here and it pulling back down towards the lower part of the range because of the divergence that was developing. So you do have like a mini support technically right here. It was your resistance twice in October, in the beginning of October. So maybe, like, if it doesn't open good tomorrow or open well, like maybe it could open well tomorrow and cancel out the divergence, but there's definitely more probability that it's headed back down to the lower part of the range, $11 give or take. But yeah, doesn't look too great to me. If you want to call it a cup and handle on the 4 hour, sure, I kind of see it. Where, this would be your cup and this would be your handle. Don't mind my stupid drawing. Not too great at drawing. But sure, you could call it a cup and handle, but if you really want that cup and handle to play out, it needs to go like literally tomorrow. It needs to take off tomorrow. So this is just one of the things where if it doesn't have a good open tomorrow, it could be headed back down to $11 in that general vicinity. So hanging on by a thread at this point, if I'm being honest. Same partners that took DraftKings public. Obviously, DraftKings had a crazy run. So, those partners probably know what they're doing. But, it just might be a game of patience right now. Just in the neutral range. Has not broken out to either side yet. What else we got? Fubo. I've been looking at Fubo, for weeks now. I've called all of these resistances on stream and on Twitter. But at this point, it's just a coin flip. The resistance on Fubo is 27.71. It failed to break that 3 times in a row. And the support is like $23 or $24. Literally that simple on Fubo. It's just more of a coin flip now. DGLY. Sure, that's another one of my trade setups. So DGLY was at a support level of 238. It had hidden bullish divergence on the 4 hour, and it had hidden bullish divergence on the daily. And I posted DGLY at $2.42. Literally the day after I posted it, it ran up 10%, technically 11.5%. Actually, no, that's a little bit off. I posted at 242. So it ran up like 10% the day after I posted DGLY. And it had a descending broadening wedge. It broke out of that. It even back tested it on Friday. So it broke out on Thursday. Then on Friday, it back tested the breakout and closed above, which is a good thing. Again, you just confirmed the hidden bullish divergence on the 4 hour. And you're extremely close to confirming the hidden bullish divergence on the daily. So it still looks good in my opinion. Obviously, if you wanted to take profits on the 10% pop, you could have. But personally, where I want to take profits on this trade setup is in like the upper $2 region. Just because you gap down over there, then you use it as resistance over here, and you use it as resistance over here. So, my thesis is that if it can hold to 238 and, stay above this green previous resistance flipped into support, if you can hold this area for long enough, I do think there's like a 75% probability of seeing the upper $2 range, potentially even this week. So we'll have to see if it does play out. Looks pretty good to me. And yeah, it's DGLY. What else we got in here? Kern. Nothing too crazy on Kern. It's just still in that downsloping channel, but it did break towards the upside of the channel. So as you can see here, Kern has just been in this massive downsloping channel. It was at the heart line of the channel, and there was only 2 ways it could go. It was the coin flip, and it just, the coin landed on heads, and it went to the resistance line. If it can ever break this downsloping yellow line, it'll probably go and test the 200-day moving average, which would be a great trade. But, let's see if it can break that, and then we'll talk. You know what I'm saying? It currently is technically at a potential reversal area. It's at a resistance. If it breaks out, great. If it doesn't, go figure on Kern. But yeah, that's Kern. Yeah, we can take a look at EA. Again, guys, we got 63 likes. For the 50 people still here, thank you very much. Crushed some major milestones tonight. Really appreciate it. But if you have not hit that like button, hit that like button. Just, if you support the free analysis. And if you have not hit that subscribe button, it'll let you know whenever I post a video or whenever I go live. And it'll also show like a cool little Wolf of Wall Street GIF that says "one of us" when you join the Champion Vibe community. But yeah, this is EA. Oh, I'm sorry, Al. I could definitely take a look at EA. The chat's just going crazy, so it's doing pretty decently. Major level it's currently at. So if we take a look at EA, as you can see, 123.60 was resistance right here. Then it was support right here, right here, right here. and it just broke above not only the resistance, but it also broke above the 200-day moving average. So that is very good. It looks like it just broke out, and there is a gap fill. Let me go to the daily. On the daily, there is a gap fill to 126.28. So, you would figure that with the breakout, it is going to, go fill that gap with a pretty high probability. And then the resistance after that would be 133.91. As you can see, that was resistance pretty much all throughout October. So yeah, that's EA. Pretty good. Obviously, there was definitely more of a value entry at like 110. But it's breaking back into this range. Probably a very high probability of the gap fill either tomorrow or the day after, assuming the market is doing okay. And after that gap fill, if it can break above that level, next resistance is 134 or 133.91. Resistance over here and resistance right here. So that is EA. It's fighting. It's definitely fighting to get back in. No divergence on the 4-hour. And there was actually classic bullish divergence on the daily. As you can see, from this MACD island to the next one, it made a higher low, and then it made a lower low on price, and that's exactly where it started reversing to the upside. So yeah, I like that it broke over the 200-day moving average for sure, and you could see higher prices as long as the market holds up. Pretty high probability of filling that gap very soon. Oh yeah, and just looking at the catalysts, I mean, the new consoles are out, Christmas is around the corner. Definitely is the time for, video game sales to be coming in. For sure. So, Bitcoin, I just got an alert on it. Bitcoin is definitely rallying right now. Didn't mean to do that. Again, if you've been following me on Twitter for like literally a month and a half, you know that I posted Bitcoin at $10,800. Literally posted a buy call at 10,800, and it went to 19,500 pretty much. And now it's pretty much rallying. My alert just went off, so that's definitely good. Yeah, it's Bitcoin if anybody wants to see it. Looks like it is potentially canceling out this hidden bearish divergence, but I'm going to leave it just to see in case. And it's definitely rallying right now. It's above the VWAP. Literally no resistance here. So it could be headed back to like, 18,800, something like that. Mitch Ray, who's currently on my TV, was talking about that earlier tonight. Again, I'm pretty much doing all of this because of Mitch Ray. He taught me all of this, and shout out to Mitch Ray. But yeah, what else we got here? I've been getting a lot of requests for IDEX, for sure. And here's my answer. I don't know if you're going to like the answer. I'm just being straightforward. I'm doing this for education. I'm not doing this, to be dishonest and shill stocks and stuff like that. But sure, we can take a look at IDEX, alright? Again, I showed IDEX on stream when it was $1. I went over IDEX or Ideanomics when it was $1. If we look at the daily and we fix that up, as you can see, it was at a support level with classic bullish divergence. From this MACD to the next one, you made a higher low while making a slightly lower low on price. So you had classic bullish divergence, which implies a reversal in price to the upside. And they had earnings, and it broke over $1, which was a resistance. And in case you have not heard the news, after showing that divergence, having earnings, breaking out, it went from $1 to $4.76. And actually, when IDEX was being requested on stream last week when it was $4.50, I wouldn't even look at it. Like, I was just kind of skipping over it, simply because I did not want to be giving people the idea to buy something when it was up 200-300%. That's just not what I'm doing. I'm trying to help people find value areas in asset prices. I don't want to be telling people to buy things when they're very overbought and they just went up to have a 2 or 3x in price. It was a great run for sure, but like the area to enter was $1, and if you didn't, of course you could have entered during the run up and maybe made some money. but it just becomes a gamble when you have a massive run up and then you fall halfway back down. Sure, it could come back up and double top, or it could just dump again and continue dumping. There's just no way to know, and that's just really not where technical analysis works. There's really nothing I can do here when you just went up, you know, 470%. There's no TA I can do here that will have a high probability, and it really is all about probability. So yeah, nothing I can do there. I'm just being completely honest. Don't take it the wrong way. Really just trying to give some education. But yeah, really, I'm not mad. I'm not anything. I'm just being honest. So hope that honesty helps you. There's always more opportunities, and if you made money on it, congrats. That was a very nice run. Well deserved for IDEX after how much, you know, it struggled throughout the course of the year. But yeah, that's IDEX. Yeah, I mean, I know I don't want to tell you to buy or to sell. I just don't know. So, I mean, I'm down to go over different tickers and stuff. I just want to be as honest as possible. That's the whole entire goal of what I'm doing, to help people out, you know, and start this free trading movement. So yeah, but I do understand, you know, why people are talking about IDEX. It had an insane run, and you have to give props to that for sure. AUPH, sure. And yeah, I think we're gonna look at the S&P 500 for sure. I'm probably not gonna look at SPY just because I already have SPX charted. Obviously, SPX is just like the chart, the actual index, and then SPY is like the way to trade the S&P 500. AUPH, it had a right-angled ascending broadening wedge. It bounced off of 1284, which I went over on stream. I said that could be a bounce area. And then it's been running. It ran from 1284 to 1458. There's a gap fill to like $15, and that's also where the 200-day moving average is. So if you are already in AUPH, this would probably be a good target. Like 1517, it's just your gap fill, and the 200-day moving average is also there. But if it does break over the 200-day moving average, the next target would probably be like this area right here, $16, which is just like these two candle highs, and then after that, just this upsloping resistance line. Gonna change the color on that to yellow. But yeah, your three targets are 15, 17, $16, and the top of this resistance line. And then in terms of support, now that it, you know, confirmed a low at 1284, obviously you could double bottom or something, but the short-term support I'm looking at is 1360. You know, you did bounce off of that over here, and over here, pretty much all throughout September. So that could definitely be your support now. And look, it already was your support. I didn't even notice this. It was your support on November 24th and November 25th. So take a look at that. Sure, we can take a look at IPOB. I think I did look at it last week. See what's up with that. Merger vote is on December 17th. Interesting. But yeah, that was wait, what chart did I just look at? AUPH. Whoa, Daniel, thank you for the $5. TTCF, super bullish looking. Just need to get above 16. Absolutely. I don't know if it's super bullish looking. I'm not gonna say it is super bullish looking. But if TTCF can break over $16, then yeah. I've been talking about TTCF. I showed the double top, and it's been falling ever since. And this is the key level to look at. Very, very similar to PIC, but kind of like the opposite. So PIC, let me just show it as an example, and then I promise I'm going to come right back to this. But PIC, before this massive run up, it was consolidating between the $10 redemption price, since it is a SPAC, and the resistance was the 200-day moving average. Here on TTCF, your support is the 200-day moving average, and the resistance is $16. It's constantly struggling to break 16. It broke above it, and then it fell right back under, and that was your support here, and your resistance over here. So $16 is the critical level on Tattooed Chef. If it can really close, you know, a couple daily candles over $16, literally the next resistance is $20, just because of how crushed it got. But the issue is, if it falls under this 200-day moving average, the next support is $13.57. So for TTCF, you need to get back above $16 quick, because if you don't, there's no support for like another 10% or more. But yeah, that's TTCF. No divergence on the daily. The 4 hour is kind of weird on TradingView. No divergence there either. It's just using the 200-day moving average as support and $16 as resistance. And if it, it would be super bullish if it broke back over 16 and then it closed multiple daily candles over 16 to really confirm it as support. But thank you for the 5. That is TTCF. And then this is IPOB. And Steve, I'm actually down to go over OPES, which is BurgerFi, I believe. It's like their Spack for BurgerFi. And I love BurgerFi. They have great burgers in my opinion. So I think that's a great reason to look at their chart for sure. But yeah, IPOB, we looked at this last week, and it got very close to breaking out for sure. It's just pretty much like an ascending broadening wedge on IPOB. It got to the top of the wedge, but it couldn't confirm or break out. Remember, to confirm or break out, you need the candle to close above it, and the breakout would have been 22.19, but it did not close the day over that level. It closed at 21.64. Again, it had a support level at 17, and it just created this ascending broadening wedge, and it's just currently at the resistance. Pretty much the way to look at it is, if it can break to the upside, if it can really break out of this technically bearish pattern, well, long-term bearish pattern, if it can break to the upside, the next resistance is 23.46. But if it can't, you have to take caution because there is a gap fill to 20.36. So yeah, you really want to see what it does, because it's right at that breakout area, but it's not quite there yet. So you have to take caution with it for sure. JD, we got multiple people asking for it. I'll take a look. I'll probably do JD first, and then I'll look at BurgerFi. That is the wrong one. So JD, my back is hurting a little bit. Oh yeah, it was like a complex cup and handle. So I showed JD after it created the cup. Somebody requested it, and it was currently in the handle at the time. And it broke out of the cup and handle, and it went right to the target. I'm pretty sure this is exactly what I said. Maybe it's on the daily. But yeah, I mean, if you just look at 92.45, that's like your all-time high, and it had a cup and handle at this level, and it broke out, and I think this is when I looked at it. I'm just not too sure, so don't take what I'm saying for granted. Not for granted, but for certainty. But I think I looked at it like right here, and it was just at the bottom of the handle, and it broke out of the handle, and it retested the all-time high. It had a nice run from 79 to 92, and technically it's still broken out. So super simple now on JD. Your support is the previous resistance of the handle, and your resistance is the all-time high at $92. And again, this is not like a textbook cup and handle. It's like a sideways handle, which usually you want a downsloping handle. But sometimes you do get unconventional patterns, and that's what you got here, and it did technically play out. But yeah, support green line and resistance yellow line. Now let's take a look at BurgerFi's Spack. OPES is BurgerFi's Spack, right? Can somebody fact check that for me? I think it is though. Have a good one. Al. I think you said it was pronounced Al, right? A-L. I hope so. But thank you. Appreciate the donation you sent me the other day. Back is hurting from carrying us. Just a long day. Also, for whatever reason, whenever I don't work out for a few days, my back starts hurting. It's like weird. I feel like maybe it's just I'm like, laying down and sitting down too much without like being active. But being active really does help my back. And that's probably not a great problem to have at 18 years old. It is what it is though. But yeah, all right, so we got some confirmation that it is BurgerFi. I was just waiting on that. But yeah, this is the chart. The three levels I've been looking at is the 1058 support, the 1156 support, which was your resistance over here, and it is now your 200-day moving average. So your real support currently is $11.56, and then the resistance is $13.49. That was resistance on September 24th and July 9th. So there isn't any major pattern here. You cannot call it a cup and handle unless it gets to $13.49 and then it creates a handle. But it looks like it's starting to create a rounding bottom. You know, definitely seeing some rounding action. No divergence on the 4-hour. No divergence on the daily. So, yeah, I don't know. You know, this could also be another resistance, 1505. But if it ever does get to 1505, that would kind of be like a double bottom. Another way to look at it, there's like a lot of ways we can look at something that's creating this type of a chart. Another way to look at it is that it already broke out. As you can see, if you chart it like this, you could technically say it just broke out, with this being your supply line or resistance line. That was like your first candle high, then you had these two candles over here, and then it tested the breakout on November 20th, and then it broke out. It broke out of 1156, it broke out of this yellow supply line, and it broke out of the 200-day moving average. So no matter how you look at this chart, it cannot be denied that it just broke out. Confirmed breakout, there's no arguing that. And it could back test 1156 very easily. So I'm not saying it's going to go right to 1349, but there is a high probability that, you know, at some point it is going to see 1349 again. The question is just when. And so, you know, pretty new chart. BurgerFi has been a company for at least a few years, because I've been eating BurgerFi for at least a few years. So it looks good. It broke out. Just be careful, because it might back test the breakout at around like 1156. But in terms of like the long term, if you really believe in the fundamentals of BurgerFi and you really want to be, you know, a part of what they're doing, and you want to be an investor, long term, I'm not saying short term, and the short term it just went up 15-16%. So I'm not saying short term, I'm saying long term, this could be considered the place to enter. You have a confirmed breakout, you're technically not even overbought yet, and there's definitely a lot of room to run. And you know, your targets are 13.49 and 15. But like, if you really want to get into BurgerFi for the long run, in my personal opinion, not financial advice, I'm literally an 18-year-old college student. In my personal opinion, this could be a long-term entry area. And your stop loss will probably just be a few percent under 1156, but then again, it's a SPAC. So the redemption price for the shares is $10. So it's, you know, very similar to a lot of other SPACs. You just broke out, you know where the support area is in the $10 range. And if you can stay above that $10 range, it's all good. But yeah, that's OPES. What is up, world, who's not going by skis? Welcome to the stream. Just looking over stocks and stuff. But yeah, that's BurgerFi. Let me get some other tickers to look at. Drop what you guys want me to look at in the chat. Try and look through a few more before I log out. Thank you again for all the support. Really appreciate it. The redemption price on a special purpose acquisition corp is basically a SPAC. An SPAC is a way to launch or IPO a company in a very democratic way, where general market participants can get into the company and buy shares of it before they even publicly list on the NYSE. And that's, you know, it's been a very hot sector this year for sure, but it did have like a crash at one point in like the beginning of October. And the redemption price is just basically if you want to redeem your shares before the merger occurs, you can do it at around like $10, which a lot of people do find attractive, but there is certain stipulations to that. So you're gonna have to do your own research on how to actually redeem your shares. But that's really not what I'm concerned about. What I'm concerned about is on many SPACs like PIC, $10 was really a strong bounce area. And technically on this one, it bounced off $10. So print, what are you waiting for? Oh, guys, guys, if you're in this stream right now, Print said if we hit 70 likes on the stream, he's gonna donate $70. We need 4 of you to hit that like button. If you have not hit that like button, we need 4 more people out of the 32 people still here to hit that like button. Just saying. It would be dope. If you haven't hit that like button, not only would it be awesome, and not only is Print awesome, but it also helps grow the stream if you support what I'm doing. We just got 1 more like. We're only 3 away. 3 likes away from 70. Let's see if we can get there. We need 3 more of you for the $70 donation from Print. If you have not hit that like button, we're at the end of the race. Okay, we'll see if it happens. But yeah, that's BurgerFi. I think that was a very good in-depth analysis on BurgerFi. Might post this like clip on YouTube. So I hope you guys appreciated that BurgerFi analysis. A lot of people have been asking about it, and I really wanted to go over it. So there you go. Thank you for requesting it, Steve. 1 more like away from 70 likes. For the 70, we hit it. Print, we hit it. We hit the 70. Let's go. Thank you to all of you. This is the first time I've ever hit 70 likes on a stream. We broke their viewership record when we had 80 people in here before. And we just got the $70 donation from Print. Let's go. Shout out to Print. He's in the top left of, it's like over there because my camera's inverted. Print's in the top left of your screen. He has been there for like over a week. Top donor in the stream. Print has blessed me with donations. Thank you so much for the $70 donation, Print. Literally, I told you this last time, but you have unlimited ticker requests. If you ever want me to look at anything and I see it, I'm looking at it. So it did take us 98 minutes to get it, but we did. Thank you guys for the 70 likes. And thank you, Print, for the $70 after the insane amount of tips you've already sent me. So can we get some hype in the chat for Print with the $70 donation? Everybody just drop the word hype. Let's go, dude. Making my week before the week technically even started. Thank you so much, Print, for everything you've done for me, for this channel, for this community. Just gonna reinvest as much as I can to make the stream better, to make everything I'm doing better. So let's get some hype in the chat for Print. Just type the word hype. Let's get a hype train going, guys. We got 34 people still in here. 11:25 on a Sunday. Do we still have the hype in us? We're out here charting. We got Evan with the hype. We got Rooster with the hype. 37 people in here. We're actually getting some more people in here. But yeah, that was BurgerFi. Got Mr. Ryan. We got Bala. Oh yeah. So Shane says, what's your favorite TA plays this week? Obviously, we still have the ongoing trades from VRM, DGLY, AMWL. But the new trade that I actually revealed right at the beginning of the stream was Apple. I really like what Apple's doing. Created 3 higher lows in a row. It broke out of this green resistance line and it even back tested the breakout. You also have bullish convergence on the daily and on the 4-hour. Yeah, if you want to really see my in-depth analysis on Apple and this new trade setup that I'm looking at, again, it's not a confirmed setup. I want to see how it opens tomorrow before I really even post it on my Twitter or anything, which is where I post like the official ones. I want to see how it opens, see if we can get at like a value price. I might have to adjust like all the stuff on the trade, but yeah, that's Apple. Looks pretty good in my opinion for the long term. And if you really want like an in-depth analysis on Apple, literally just scroll all the way back to the beginning of the stream. Was the first thing I went over. But yeah, again, Print, I know I've said thank you a lot of times, but you've just donated a lot of times and a lot of money. So thank you, Print, for the $70 donation. It means the world to me. Yeah, I think we're just gonna look at the S&P to close things off. Again, thank you guys for 70 likes. Thank you, Print, for the $70. And thank you for breaking my concurrent viewer record when we hit 80 people before. Just like a little, overall market thing. The futures are down a little bit on the S&P, for sure. Futures are down about 0.5%, which for futures is not great. But if you look at the actual S&P 500, it's pretty much all-time highs. It broke out of like this pennant over here. You're very close to getting a 4-hour crossover, and it looks pretty decent as long as it can hold 35.88. The support on the S&P 500 is 35.88. Definitely, if you're trading stocks, you should be looking at the indexes. You should be looking at the S&P, the Dow Jones, the Russell 2K, the QQQ. You should be using indexes to see how the overall market is looking, because the market just went from, we can pull this tool out. The market went from 3234 to 3600 in 1 month. So it just had an insane rally. It's been in an insane rally ever since the COVID crash. So always manage your risk. I'm not saying it's going to dump. I'm not calling a crash. All I'm saying is always be prepared for any situation. But yeah, guys, thank you for all the support. Paula says, do you think trading crypto on Robinhood is a valid thing to do? The thing about Robinhood is obviously, for crypto, they don't have any fees, but they kind of do like the orders weird. Like if you do like a market buy, sometimes it'll actually fill your market buy for over the current price of the asset, and then sometimes if you sell, it's like lower, because since they don't use fees, I think the way that they're really managing it is they make you buy slightly higher, like 1% higher, and then they make you sell like 1% lower. It's just kind of weird how Robinhood does it. Personally, Robinhood is just kind of weird how they do it. And then a lot of people just say Coinbase, but the actual Coinbase has insane fees. I've paid way too much money to Coinbase in fees over the last 6-7 months or whatever. So Coinbase Pro is what I use. It doesn't have all the cryptos, but it has most of the ones that I trade. And Coinbase Pro has much, much lower fees than the regular Coinbase. And Coinbase Pro is free to use. It's just they kind of use Coinbase as like a way to make money off the retail crypto investors, and they don't really promote Coinbase Pro. So it's just like kind of like if you know about it, you're saving money on fees. So I would recommend Coinbase Pro for sure. But yeah, I think that does it. 72 likes, $70 donation from Print, 80 concurrent viewers earlier on. Thank you guys so much for all the support. And then like another thing is like, are you really even getting crypto on Robinhood if you buy crypto? Because you can't, you don't get like a crypto wallet on Robinhood where you have like your unique crypto wallet where you can deposit and withdraw funds from. It's just really weird. It's pretty much like retail buying crypto. So yeah, I don't know. So personal preference, I guess. Personally, I have used Robinhood a couple times to trade crypto, but mainly I just use Coinbase Pro. And that should do it for tonight. We were live for an hour and 45 minutes. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you for all the tips. Thank you for all the likes. I hope everybody has a good night. Trade safely tomorrow, and let's crush it in the market this week. Always manage your risk, and I will see you guys tomorrow night at 9:45 EST. Peace out.